Welcome to Four Questions. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Brent Spilkin, otherwise known as Spilly. Now, Spilly has owned and managed several businesses from manufacturing and distribution to property management and media consultancies. Today, Spilly is a world-renowned business coach supporting business owners across South Africa, Israel, Australia, Europe, and the United States. Spilly, I'm so excited to chat to you today. Welcome.
Thank you, Marjan. It's a pleasure to be here.
Lovely. Okay, so Spilly, given your history as a business leader, alongside the fact that you advise your clients who are business leaders, you probably have to make critical decisions fairly regularly. Would you say that you're more of a rational, objective decision maker, or do you rely more on your gut instinct?
Categorically rational. I'm incredibly practical in nature. I want to see the data. I want to make sure that I've explored all the options and I've scenario planned. We're talking about critical decisions, obviously, not what's for lunch kind of decisions. So if it's a large decision, I like to always think about it in sort of three horizons. So what is the short-term, mid-term, and long-term effect? Obviously, if it's a big decision, does it fit or create friction with the strategy and the outcomes we want in the business? But generally, I tend to find myself, I speak fairly fast, but I think slowly. I tend to find that I'll wake up at 2 in the morning or standing in the shower, and that's when I'm going, I've got the solution. So I try not to commit to big things too quickly, and I try to talk it through with myself or people around me to make sure I've thought about all the angles and all the perspective. And the one thing that I've realized doing the work that I do in terms of advisory is I realized that getting perspective and getting a second opinion, a third set of eyes on it is hugely valuable. So those big sort of critical decisions, generally slow thinking, very sort of practical and rational, I think. I believe, yeah.
Spilly, I've got to be honest with you. I mean, we have history. We've known each other for a long time. We've done business together. Yeah, you've blown me away. I just always thought, this creative mind. I think you're extremely gifted, extremely creative. And I made an assumption. I assumed that you were more of the gut sort of person. So yeah, you've perplexed.
So what's interesting, I think there's two parts to that. So the first part is that some of the problems I land up helping my clients solve is a new problem to them. So my instinct, what appears to be instinct to go, no, don't do A, do B, is because I've seen the path that A goes with other clients. And I know that B is the solution. So you may go, oh, he's quick thinking, it's a gut decision. But actually, I'm kind of going, oh, no, I've seen this movie. I know how this ends. So often that's what happens within some of the advisory conversations. But when I don't know the answer, if it's a perplexing kind of question, then I definitely will take a more rational approach to it.
Interesting. Very interesting. Question 2. Going with your instinct is sometimes assumed to be less robust or higher risk. What is your opinion? Do you have any examples of these sort of gut decisions that you've made?
So I always believe trust your instinct. I tell my clients, trust your instincts. And often that gut feeling is true. It depends on who I'm speaking to. So if I'm speaking to someone that's got a very high EQ and they're going, my gut says, then I'm going, you're probably right, because you've percolated thinking slowly behind the scenes, because that's the way your brain operates. Where when I see people that have a very strong IQ, very methodical, sort of thinking spreadsheets, and they go, oh, my gut says, I'm going, don't trust your gut. Like you need to think methodically, because that's the way you think. So it's right for some and not right for others. But I do believe that deep down as animals, we have instincts in order to survive. And that initial instinct is more often not correct in terms of survival. So trust your gut is really important. And sometimes make quick decisions and learn to live with the consequences is a good sort of path forward. I think that on smaller stuff, definitely trust your gut. And I think trust your gut is when you're talking about, should I hire this person? Go through the process, do a proper interview. And at the end, if your gut's going, no, trust your gut.
Mm.
So when it comes to people decision, I think gut plays a huge part. When it comes to someone saying, oh, my gut says the market's going to change in the next 6 months, I'm going, don't trust your gut.
No.
Those things you need to go and do some sort of empirical data and a bit of research around. So what kind of things are you trusting your gut on? Depends. So the answer is yes, depends, right? So I do believe trust your gut, especially when it comes to people. But when it comes to larger stuff that there's lots of moving pieces, unless you actually know what's going on and you're deeply entrenched, I'd probably say get some data before you trust your gut.
Lovely. Question 3 goes like this. Do you think there is a way in which you can combine judgment with data to guide the decision-making process, or decisions, are they based on one approach or the other?
So I can't think of a sort of strategic matrix of like high gut, low guts, high data, low data. I mean, you could plot it out, right?
Yeah.
And then you only want to make decisions in high gut, high data, sort of right quadrant, for argument's sake. Like you could try and do that to go, well, like, what does your gut say? Is it high or low? And then how much information do I actually have that I can prove? So you could do that. Nothing comes to mind that I've seen as a model to help do that. But I do think that the blended approach is important. And sometimes the data to help guide is based on multiple people's gut. So your gut, you don't always trust your own instincts. But if there's 10 of you in a meeting and 9 of you are going, my gut says X, but one guy says Y, that overall gut feeling is probably considered data, and that would possibly help guide some of your decision making. So get more than one person's gut feeling potentially is one way of solving it. But I haven't seen anything obvious in terms of a proven methodology to decide this. But I think that it's around what is the impact of the decision you're making. Yeah. And if it's really, really impactful in terms of like your overall business objective or your lifestyle, then I'd say you've got to do both. You've got to do both. I'll be careful. And obviously time and the amount of time you have to make the decision obviously is an impact as well. So is a factor rather. So if you have very little time to do the data, then gut becomes more of a consideration. If you have more time to do the research and gather data, then do that as well.
Interesting. Okay, so now we're going to shake things up a little bit. We've got something here called our bingo buzz questions. Are you ready?
I'm scared. Is it still related to business, I hope?
Yes. Yeah, but we've had some funny ones as well. So I've got one. Let's have a look at what we're going to ask you today. Your bingo buzz goes like this, Billy. Is popularity and the capacity to thereby influence an imperative for effective leadership?
Yes.
Really?
Absolutely. So popularity, so influence is the ability to drive an action. That's in the way I think about the definition, the Wikipedia of influence is the ability to drive an action. I believe people that are popular, but in order to become popular, you need to have certain character traits for your audience. So popularity doesn't mean Marilyn Monroe pop, right? She may not be able to do stuff. So what I'm saying is that depending who the audience is, if the leader is popular within that audience, I believe they can influence behaviors for sure. The wrong popularity, so we have a very popular Democrat, very popular, put him into North Korea, will not be able to drive influence. So the right popularity for the audience that needs to change a behavior or do some work, I think it's not the only thing, obviously, but I do think it is important. And I do think that sometimes great leaders who are popular also make unpopular decisions. And part of that actually makes them popular, is the fact that they actually have an opinion, they slant in one direction, they're polarizing some of the audience, therefore they're popular with someone, people will follow them. I don't know anyone that would follow a leader that they didn't love or believe was popular to them, and popular in terms of attractive or aspirational or inspirational. So maybe we need to define the term popular, but for me it encompasses inspiration, motivation, sort of aspirational potentially. And if you can tick those boxes, I think those are some of the important traits of a great leader.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think the risk comes in where you've got a popular leader who appears competent, so people sort of see it as synonymous with competence, and they're not competent. Do you know what I mean? So I think
but then I think that what will tend to happen over time is their popularity will wane, because you can only hide behind popularity without delivery for a period of time. So there's got to be a balance, and that's what it's not the only thing.
Yeah.
But I think it is a one of a powerful thing. And I also think what's interesting is that if you look at the really most powerful leaders of all time, and I'm talking about, and don't shoot me, but the Hitlers of the world, right?
Sure.
Incredibly popular, and they're popular for whatever the reasons they were. But they almost, the cult leaders are very popular. The fact that they're very competent in doing something that it may be perceived as evil, definitely evil in the case of Hitler. But I'm just saying is that they're able to then, create the movement and get people to follow them and do the work that needs to be done. So I think popularity shouldn't be undervalued.
Interesting. Spilly, as always, I love getting into your mind. I love asking your these questions and just picking your brain. Thank you so much for your time today. I want to have you back. I want to have you back on 4 questions. Seriously.
Good. But you've got to change the first 3 questions then, surely.
We'll do that, certainly. Spilly, have a great day, and thanks again.
You too. Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.